Live? Sí. Sí, es live. Buenas noches, bienvenidos a Toronto Beer Podcast conmigo, Chris Schreier, tu anfitrión. ¿Cómo estás, amigo? ¿Es bien? Sí, gracias. Es bien, pero muy caliente, pero muy bien. Gracias. And with that, we'll call that the first ever Spanish language Toronto Beer Podcast. Don't know if I got all those words right, but I sure tried. Guys. Haven't been speaking a lot of Spanish recently, but it's been so dang hot. It reminds me of being in Nicaragua. Wait, hang on a second. I'm wearing a Nicaraguan shirt right now. This is a Tonya shirt from Nicaragua. I bought it for the equivalent of, I think, $2 in the town square in Granada. Beautiful town in Nicaragua. Highly recommend. Maybe not visiting right now. Still having some border problems, with COVID, but when the time comes, could not recommend it more. Oh, look at this. Kevin's already here and he's wondering how you switch the language settings on this thing. Well, you just wait until I run out of Spanish is what you do. Didn't take long, did it? We're only a minute 30 in, and I've been speaking English for at least a minute of that. Anyway, hey, welcome, guys. How y'all doing? Hot enough for you, eh? Holy moly. If you're working outside in Toronto right now, just know that I am too, and I feel you. I feel you. But you want to know what's nice? Actually, it's not nice. It's insane and stupid. But hey, welcome to my life. Insane and Stupid is the name of the company I work for. I'm not going to be working outside tomorrow because I need to go for a COVID test. Why do I need to go for a COVID test? Do I have any symptoms of COVID? No, I have none. My daughter had a cough. That could be COVID. So she got tested today. I'm fully vaccinated, and our self-check system says if you're fully vaccinated, even if you've had direct contact with a person who has a confirmed positive case of COVID, you're fine to keep working. So I went to work. But then they kind of got spooked about that. Like, I don't know if anybody had done that yet. So then they made me wait outside for like 20 minutes while they figured out whether or not I was allowed to work. And in the end, they asked me to call public health. So I did. And public health said, yeah, no, work away. Is this crazy? Yes. Do we know that breakthrough cases with Delta are totally common among vaccinated people? For sure. Are there literally hundreds of people I could infect in my daily work? Definitely. So if I'm your mailman, you might want to wash your hands. Anyway, and then they told me midday, finish what you're doing, but don't come back tomorrow. Instead, go get a COVID test. I said to Erica, I said, it's like we haven't been doing this for the past 18 months or something. They don't know what the hell we're doing. Anyway, that's who I work for. How did your day go? My day actually went well because I knew that tomorrow I wasn't going to work. I'm going to sleep in. I would like to go fishing, but I think that would be irresponsible. So instead, I'm going to hang out around the house. Might play some guitar. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here for the Toronto Beer Podcast. Sorry, I just knocked my other pair of headphones off of my desk. I have two pairs. I like these. I like those too, but I use these for this and those for other things. Those are recording ones for when I'm playing music. These are mastering ones. They're open backed. Anyway, you didn't need to know that. We are here for the beer. You will note no guest. You know why? Because I've been tired and really busy. So I did not have the wherewithal. But this is season 6, episode 20. The last episode of season 6. I will rejoin you the Monday after Labor Day. So 2 Mondays are going to pass by. No Toronto Beer Podcast. So I hope this one really does it for you. Because if it doesn't, well, maybe then you'll enjoy the break. I don't know. That could happen. What are we drinking tonight? Well, I mentioned Es muy caliente. I'm not even sure if I'm using the right word for hot here. I know it's not picante. That's like spicy in your mouth. Caliente, I believe, is hot. Outside, is it caliente, or do we use a different word for that? I haven't used Duolingo in years. I don't know. Anyway, it's hot as balls, is what the meteorologists say. They point at the map. They go, this part of Toronto, hot as balls. You're going to want some Gold Bond. Those who know. With that in mind, I selected this beauty out of my ice box, kindly given to me by my neighbor, because I collected a package for him while he was out. Seemed like a fair trade. I would have done the package for free if I'm honest, but he gave me not just this couple of beers, but this is one of them. This is Trestle Brewing, the pride of Parry Sound, Ontario. Their Salt Dock Jump Summer Saison. Now, I would cancel? I would not cancel them. Yet, anyway. We haven't tried it. Let's leave cancellation until there's a reason. I would counsel them, though, a slightly different word. Saison's an anytime kind of beer, if you ask me. And if you put summer on it, it becomes a lot harder to sell in October. So I'm not saying I'm not a marketing expert, but you could sell that in October if it didn't have the word summer attached to it. But other than that, I'm excited about this because I do love a good saison. I can't remember the last saison I had. It's definitely been a minute. So let's see. Oh, this glass is filthy. Sorry, I was drinking a beer out of this before, and I did a very cursory rinse in the sink. That is like, it looks like a soda pop ad. I don't even want to hold it up. Well, we knocked a lot of the bubbles off of it anyway, but that is not clean. Anyway, I was drinking some really garbage beers out of it. I don't even want to tell you. And the worst part was they shouldn't have been garbage beers. They're from small breweries, but they were just garbage. No, I'm not going to name and shame. Don't even ask me to. I double dare you. Anyway, I'm not going to. We're going to talk about this. Trestle Brewing Company Salt Dock Jump Summer Saison. Here we go. Well, right away. Very clear, spicy Belgian Saison yeast. Big time on the nose. Some malty sweetness for sure. Might be wheat. There could be wheat in here. I'm used to a rye in a Saison, and then also I love in my Saisons a mixture of Munich and Vienna. I do the full mixture constituting between 7 and 10% of the malt bill. And that mixture should be a 4-to-3 mixture of Munich to Vienna, 4 parts Munich to 3 parts Vienna. I know that's getting a little mathy, but it's pretty easy to plug into any recipe calculator. And I just do that for color. Now, this one is quite yellow. I don't think it has any of that in there. I maybe wouldn't go all the way up to like 10%. I might do around 6 or 7%. Add a little bit of orangey hue to my Saison. But that's the direction I tend to go. But I'm getting, yeah, it could be wheat. I haven't really looked into this one yet. I only know that they're from Parry Sound because I know where Trestle's from. But other than that, I got very little to go on. So let's taste it. Sí, es muy rico. Sí. Oh, that's delicioso. See, I was back in Spanish for a minute there. Just messing with you, kids. Don't worry. It's a nice beer. It's interesting. I get a little bit less. Oh, yeah, there's definitely wheat in there. I would almost bet serious money on that. My expectation was a more yeast-driven Saison on the front of the palate, where you get hit with spices. This, they're there, but they're more of a supporting role, which isn't bad. It's just not what I was expecting. There is a definite wheat kind of tang to the malt, which I like. And there's a hint of sweet tarts, which I believe is coming off the yeast. sort of a citricy, slightly sugary, although that could also be... that's interesting. Could be the malts. I wonder if there's some sort of crystal malt in there. There could be. I don't think so, though. It doesn't drink that way. I don't think anyone heard that. I just heard it in my headphones. There was a Windows application error, but don't worry. Everything's still working. We okay. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Actually, I'm kind of getting that sweet tart note on my nose now, too. I think that's what I was thinking was the wheatiness, but I also do think there's wheat in here. Yeah. Slightly citric candy flavor. Oh, there might be candy sugar in there. That would make a lot of sense, actually, for a saison. Make a lot of sense. It's not quite as dry as I was expecting it to be, or maybe it's dry, but I don't want to say this in a negative way. It might be the body's a little bit on the thin side. I mean, one of the things is when you dry a beer out, you tend to lose the body because a lot of the body comes from sugar and also protein. And as this is quite clear, and it is dry, it's not a sweet beer, we might have lost some of the body there. Although I think there's wheat in it. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of wheat density. It's nice. It's not a wildly complicated saison, but it definitely is a saison. Spicy. There's a bit of pepper, maybe a little allspice. Yeah, there is. And I think, I'm not sure actually about that, but I feel like there is. And I think what's spiking that is there's a bit of a banana-y kind of note, which always makes me think allspice, because allspice and bananas are like best buddies. If you're making banana bread and you don't put allspice in it, hey, you do you, but you're doing it wrong. I'm just saying, putting that out there right now. There could be a slightly banana-y kind of note to it, which you would think of it in more of a wheat beer. Yeast will drive those esters. But I wouldn't be totally surprised to find it in a saison, and here I am finding it there. So, I've just hiccuped. Some tender ribs actually kind of lit up on that one. Still got some tender ribs, guys. Good news is I can't play rugby tomorrow night, so can't re-injure them at least for another couple of days. Can't play rugby, of course, because of that whole having to get COVID tested thing. There's a tiny bit more. Let's dump that in. Also, I didn't agitate it. It might... No. I was wondering if it might haze up the beer a little, but didn't. Well, let's go to the can. Salt Dog Jump, a refreshing summer saison. What more could you ask for on a hot summer day? I will agree with you on this. This is a very refreshing, invigorating kind of beer. This is what you're looking for in a saison. On a hot day, you should just want to drink a lot of it. And I want to drink a lot of this. There's a white winey character, actually. Touching on like maybe a Sauv Blanc. Anyway. We used malted wheat. Boom. Pilsner malt. Sure. And a traditional Belgian saison yeast to create a doughy malt profile. Well, that is not necessarily the words I would have used to describe that. With a peppery and fruity flavor. I agree with all that. And balanced bitterness. We didn't even talk about that. Yeah. There's clearly some, probably some sort of noble hop drying things out a bit. Quite nice. Big thank you goes out to artist Alan Stein for the original woodcut depicting this Parry Sound. Right. Oh, yes. And this is a woodcut print on the can. If you can see on the video. And if you're listening to the podcast, you just go right ahead and Google it. That's pretty cool woodcut. I think these are naked people jumping off of what I can only imagine is the salt dock. I don't know if that's because that dock is made out of salt or if it's the dock where the salt boat delivered the salt. Whether that be for culinary or civic infrastructure usage, couldn't tell you. But it does appear to be, I think, naked people jumping off of said Salt Duck. Not jumping off the Trestle Bridge, which, let's be honest, might also be a rite of passage, but is a dangerous one. We shouldn't be playing with train tracks. Stand By Me. Have you seen this movie? Say no more. There's a skunk outside my house right now. Or, no, that's not somebody smoking weed. That's actually a skunk. Yeah, it's a skunk. Anyway, I can smell it. That's just apropos of nothing. Stream of consciousness stuff now. Yeah, as a saison, tasty, not wildly complicated, but again, it's meant to be like crushed in the summer. Nicely refreshing, bit of a fruity quality like sweet tarts. Yeah, it's dry. It's not a sweet beer. Balanced bitterness, sure, I'll give you that. It's bitter and dry on the finish. Still, I don't know how I feel about calling it doughy malt profile, but there's definitely some sort of sweet malts in there. And I'm, well, as noted, there is wheat, and I was pretty sure there was. I would have liked a little bit more weight on the body without the beer being sweet, protein driven wheat. So weight. Let me try that again. Protein driven weight. So wheat, maybe some rye or some oats. But that's just a personal preference. And that actually is moving into the more frou-frou saisons that you might drink out of like a wine glass, whereas this is very much a pint glass, thirst slaking kind of saison. Quite nice. Quite nice. Now, where do you get this? I have no idea. From your neighbor, if you collect one of their packages for them and they have a cottage near Parry Sound. I would assume available at Trestle Brewing in downtown Parry Sound, the thriving metropolis therein. Couldn't tell you about anything else. LCBO, maybe. Beer store, maybe. Grocery stores, maybe. But I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Tasty beer, though. Nice saison. Again, perfect for a day like today, which was... yeah, let's just go with very hot. I have a rule. I try not to complain about the weather, no matter how bad it gets. That was challenging today, not to complain about the weather. But complaining about it won't change it. So why waste your energy on it? We just slogged through. I got home. I jumped in the lake. I rinsed off the day in probably about 6 cups of salt. And we started fresh. And here we are, episode 20 of season 6 of the Toronto Beer Podcast. Conmigo, Chris Schreier. With me, Chris Schreier. Let me take a sip or two. I feel like I need to satiate a thirst, if I may be so bold. That was the kind of sip I needed. All right. Oh, what's going on? What is going on? Well, there are events happening. Fingers crossed, if you would join me in crossing whatever body parts your personal faith requires. Could be your body. I don't know. You cross what you want. Events are happening now, and we want them not to get canceled. So without jinxing things, I know right away across my bow today and yesterday on the socials, and also in my email. But anyway, came the notice of the fall COVID interpretation of the Toronto Festival of Beer. It's happening, I want to say September the 25th. September 20th things. It's a weekend. It's probably the Saturday. Here's what you need to know. It's exactly where you expect it to be. Bandshell Park at the exhibition. Who's headlining? Exactly who you would expect. Dwayne Gretzky. Who's going to be there? Breweries. And they'll have beer. And there will be people. Will you be required to have a double vaccination? I hope so. And if not, that would actually discourage me from going. What else do you need to know? I don't know. Look it up. Toronto Festival of Beer. It's in September. It won't be hard to find. Check that out. Always good value. Myself, will I go? Maybe. I actually think that might be the weekend that my holiday starts. And if it is, I'm booked to go to Algonquin to see the fall colors and to do a bit of camping, in which case I'll have to miss it. But if it's the weekend before, I could be convinced. It's not hard to get me out of the house for Toronto Festival of Beer, especially when you use the words Dwayne Gretzky. Friends, I think a lot of you have probably been to the Toronto Festival of Beer. And if you have, there's good odds you were there when Dwayne Gretzky played. Dwayne Gretzky, arguably the best bar band in the world. What do they play? Almost entirely covers of bangers. And they bang them out like you wouldn't believe. They're fantastic. I've had some real good times with, more than a few beers in my belly and maybe a few, what do we call it? Breaths of smoke in my lungs. I don't know. The point is I was feeling good and the music was great. Love those guys. So check that out. What else? I don't know. Events are starting to pop up. Places are further open. You can go into places again. So look them up because there's potentially a whole whack of things happening this fall. Certainly I went to Black Lab Brewing's birthday party for their dog Snoopy. Was that just last weekend? Or was that 2 weekends ago? Well, the thing is, it's Monday, so it wasn't 2 days ago on Saturday. It was 9 days ago. And I think that is the one. Fantastic time. What a delightful, well-run party. Just another shout out. If you're in the area, Black Lab Brewing, well, for one, you're in the area of a lot of breweries, but check them out because they're quite good. Rorschach is over there. Radical Road's just up there. Aveling's just a little bit past there. Beaches is further along Queen. You could check them out too. Plenty of breweries in the area to check out. Probably missed somebody I shouldn't have there, and apologies already for mucking that one up. Well, obviously, Left Field and Great Lakes, or not Great Lakes, Godspeed, the other G-based beer I drink a lot of. Also easy walking distance from Black Lab Brewing. But yeah, so that's easy peasy. You could make a day of that. But it was a fantastic time. They did an anniversary beer. It was like red dragon fruit and guava barrel-aged sour beer, which when you hear that, you will think, oh, they tried to make a sour beer. It was too sour, so they added red dragon fruit and guava to it, and then it was too fruity, so then they barreled it to try and knock some of that down, and the end product was like passable. Not what happened at all. I don't know because I wasn't there, but I suspect that's what they were planning to make the whole time. And in fact, what you get is a not particularly aggressively sour ale with a beautiful tropical fruity note and just this low rumble of oak from the barrel. It was a real delight. I don't know if they still have any available, but if they do, it would be worth picking some up. It was called, I can't remember what it was called. Something referencing the anniversary, I think. Anyway, really nice. Check it out. What else is going down? Well, that's about it. That's what I got, guys. My life's still mostly consumed with rugby. Again, little break right now because of a possible COVID infection. But other than that, we do have a season now, which is exciting. So I might have some stories for you. And that would be great. Get this old horse out of the barn. I don't know. Do people even say that? Anyway, hey, look, Erica just joined. Sadly, as I'm getting ready to wrap things up, but isn't she wonderful? Oh, I never talked about eating anything with a saison. What do you eat with a saison? Well, some are fair, to be sure. Mussels work really well with saisons. I actually would take a saison over like a Belgian white ale or a triple or something with my mussels. But we want to talk about this one specifically. Let me just have another interaction. I don't know. People get spooked when I say this, but this is a breakfast beer. Wheat content for sure. A little fruity. Maybe it's a late morning snacking. This would go really nice with sourdough and marmalade, which is what my son's been eating most days recently, and I've joined him a few times. That would work really well. The sourdough bread ties in interestingly with the malts and the yeast. The marmalade obviously works well with the fruitiness. That's not a bad call. I'd like that. That'd be tasty. The other thing that you could do with this that'd be very interesting. Have you ever used marmalade and then mixed it with something like, say, sriracha to make a marinade, but more importantly, a glaze? And then you can glaze whatever you want with that. A lot of people use it on chicken, not me because I don't eat chicken, but I would put it on fish. That'd be pretty nice. Some sort of, haddock or pollock, something like that. Just a nice firm white fish. Do it on the grill or on a pan under the broiler. Get a little caramelization on there. That'd be nice. Marmalade and sriracha on fish with this would be, muy rico, to use the Spanish term. And that's what we're doing. I think I've ticked all the boxes. This one wasn't a total home run, and I'm aware of that. I'm real tired. It was a real hot, long day. In addition to all the stuff with the COVID nonsense, I also had an elderly customer who was overheated and dehydrated that I needed to provide some assistance for, which you might not appreciate. Your letter carrier may or may not do, but I do. It was just a bit of a day. The other thing, I'm not even wearing my watch right now because it was almost dead, but your watches, you get your rings if you're an Apple person. Maybe you're a Garmin person like me. You got your intensity minutes and such. My Garmin device sets me a goal of 150 intensity minutes a week, which is never a problem to knock off. But I knocked that off today. Today alone, I clocked 181 intensity minutes, which is my heart rate was at 70% of its maximum. That's when you're in intensity minutes. And I was there for 181 minutes today, just walking in the heat. So I'm kind of spent. So I appreciate you joining me. You know what? I always appreciate you joining me. It would be insane not to, because otherwise, why would I be doing this? It takes up a chunk of my time on a Monday night and could be spent doing other things. But I like this. I like hanging out. I like talking. I like thinking people are listening. And then I get to see the data that shows that on some level, people are. Maybe they're listening to me when they're on hold with Rogers, in which case I have a nearly limitless market, but that's a whole nother story. But I do enjoy this. And oh, thanks, Kevin. He says, take care and enjoy my time off. I'm going to. I will. Yeah. Be nice. And hey, here's what people always say. I'm going to come back refreshed and renewed and ready to go. Probably not what's going to happen, but I'm going to say that right now. And I'll probably come back as a overtired, sweaty, overheated, grouchy, middle-aged man. But that's probably why you're tuning in anyway, right? Sweaty, grouchy, overheated, middle-aged man. That should be like the tagline on the podcast. Nothing to do with beer. The Toronto Beer Podcast with a sweaty, grouchy, overheated, middle-aged man. That's what we're talking about. Here's to season 7, guys. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.